He might have a double game week, but Bruno Fernandes isn't as essential as people think. Welcome to my new YouTube show. Coming up in the next 20 minutes, we've got loads of FPL chat for you. We have got some chip strategy. We're going to be looking at the blanks and the doubles. I'll be telling you how I'm thinking of using my chips. We'll, of course, be looking at my team from the week just gone, but also the week ahead, and the transfers I'm looking to make around the double game week. But, of course, we'll be talking some tactics as well, focusing on Brighton this week. I also have a differential 11, and we'll be looking at 3 January transfers I really like the look of in FPL. But let's get started with chip strategy. We think we now know about the blanks and the doubles. What does that mean? Well, firstly, there is no right and wrong answer around how to use your chips, but this is how I would be using my chips. Okay, so let's start off with triple captaincy. Some have used it, some haven't. I've used mine. I'd be looking at Rashford this week or Haaland next. Get it out the way early would be my advice. Gives you more flexibility later down the line with our chips, right? The better chips, the bench boost, the free hit, the wild card. Do I prefer Rashford this week or Haaland next? Perhaps just Haaland next, but I don't think there's much in it. But now let's talk about the blanks and the doubles. So at the moment, we know there is going to be a blank game week in 25. There's some big teams missing out there, by the way, United, Newcastle, Brighton. But there's also going to be a big blank game week in 28. Now, that's going to cause a lot of FPL managers some issues, and some might look to free hit then. There'll also be a blank in 32. Some of the teams that blank in 28 also blank in 32, so maybe we can have similar teams for those double game weeks. There's also going to be some big doubles, okay? So game week 29 is going to be a big double, so that comes off the back of a blank. And then game week 34 and 37 are going to be big doubles. So again, we're thinking bench boosting and even wildcards around these doubles. So my original initial take here, and this could change, and there isn't a right and wrong answer, as I said. I'm looking at potentially free hitting in blank game week 29. So I'd be navigating the blanks in 25 and 28 without a free hit. I like to free hit where there's huge upside and get 22 players out, 11 players playing twice. So I'll be looking at free hit 29, which I think I'm fairly happy with. Now, this could change, but it allows me to then use my transfers to cover the blanks in 25, use my transfers to cover the blanks in 28, but then I won't have been using my transfers to prepare for a huge double game week in 29. So I simply free hit, and then in game week 30 and 31, which are normal game weeks, I'm relatively well set. And then come game week 32, which is a blank, again, I won't feel the need to free hit. I'd have used it on hopefully a very big double game week with a huge score, but I'll be able to have a similar team to 28. So that's how I'll navigate the blanks. And then I think it will be wildcard time. Wildcard time in 33 ahead of a big double game week in 34. Wildcarding before a bench boost is great. 34 will be a bench boost, or it could be 37. But a wildcard followed by a bench boost, 15 players potentially playing twice is super, super exciting. So there we go. That's what I'm thinking of doing with chips. We'll have more chip strategy in the following weeks. But let's look back to my team. A small red arrow, 220k. I'm kind of okay with that. I've got 1.3 million in the bank. I've got only the one free transfer. It was an okay week. I massively regret going March over Matoma, although March did miss a sitter. Havertz almost had that goal against Liverpool disallowed. Long VAR decision there. But look, a few of these players turned up for me. Kepa 9-pointer, brilliant, and reliable assets like Trippier and Haaland and Kane and De Bruyne and Rashford all getting points. But let's look ahead, right? So we've got to prepare for the double. United have a double, Leeds have a double. Now, I think I'm going to go with no Leeds players in this double game week, which is a shame because I think Leeds are a team that will score goals against Forest, and I think they'll probably score goals against United. I think Leeds could score 3 or 4 goals in this double game week. But I can't see how I easily accommodate one of their players. And if truth be told, I'm still not sure who the pick is at Leeds. Is it Rodrigo? Is it Nonto? Is it Bamford now he's back fit? It's tricky. Do you go for a defender? I don't think so. Do you look at Meslier? I don't think so. So for me, it's which 3 United assets are you having? And everyone's going to have Rashford and Shaw. And I would love Bruno, but I'm not willing to go to a huge amount of surgery to get Bruno into my team. And I could sell De Bruyne to Bruno, back to De Bruyne for his double in 23. I don't think I'm willing to do that. That's just simply too many transfers for me. So if I'm not going Bruno, which United player do I go? Is it Weghorst? Well, probably not, because I think him and Martial will share minutes. It's a midfielder. Now, Eriksen was on my watch list. He's now injured. Casemiro, as good as his stats have been, and they have been exceptional, I can't look past the fact he's a defensively minded midfielder. So I like the look of, and this is pretty differential, I think Antony could be a fun 1 week punt. Would I want Antony long term? Absolutely not. But what I'm looking to do with this slot is move Martinelli onto Antony, and then straight away replace that slot with another Arsenal midfielder. But an Arsenal midfielder I really want long term. As good as Martinelli's been, I want Odegaard or I want Saka. So that slot, and I've got the money to do it, will go Antony, possibly if I make that move on Friday, and then it will go to an Arsenal mid, either Saka or Odegaard. I've got another week to eye test scout them. Ahead of game week 23, remember, Arsenal have the double game week. Havertz or Kane would go to Nketiah. I've got the money in the bank if it's Havertz to Nketiah and Antony to Saka, for example. That could happen. I definitely want triple Arsenal, and I think it's really important we have the right 3 Arsenal assets at the moment, because as good as Martinelli's been, Odegaard and Saka, I'm confident, are going to get more minutes and more points. And I do think the Trossard move will impact on Martinelli's points moving forward. I still think Martinelli's going to be starting most of these games, but I think we'll see a lot of first sub appearances off, perhaps around the 60-70 minute mark when Trossard comes on. Whilst Odegaard and Saka, for example, completely nailed. And by the way, when you look at Nketiah's stats, he's smashing it. There's an argument to say I should be taking a 4-point hit this week from Havertz to Nketiah, knowing I'll be taking a 4-point hit to bring Nketiah in next week anyway. But I just have a sneaky suspicion that Havertz on the Friday night game against Fulham is going to do something. So let's see on that one. I think what was meant to be a 1 week punt with Havertz in game week 17, where he did get 12 points, I think here I am again, 5 weeks down the line. I'm like, yeah, another 1 week for Havertz. We'll see how long he survives, but I do genuinely think I'll be getting rid next week. But I know I've said that before. Please do hit the like button if you're enjoying what you're seeing, and subscribe, because this is my new channel. And thank you for those that have been following my journey in FPL in the last few years. I've been thinking about my own channel for some time. This is the Fancy Football social channel that Ed and I had. So if you're one of those subscribers, thanks for joining us. But to all my new subscribers, thank you for supporting me on this journey. So shares and likes, massively appreciated. Now, every week I want to talk tactics. I like stats, but I also like eye test scouting, right? So what have I seen in the last couple of weeks? We're going to focus now, and it'll be a different team every week, on Brighton. Now, this is a really cool graphic we're going to show here of their passing map against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Now, bearing in mind, this is a team that have just played really well against Liverpool twice in the last couple of weeks. And the XG in this game, in the FA Cup, and it took a last-minute Matoma wonder goal to beat Liverpool, but the XG was something like over 2 for Brighton. They dominated. And the pass map looks great. Now, the personnel isn't always this in the Premier League. Tariq Lamptey is sometimes, well, we've seen Pascal Gross playing right back. We haven't always seen Ferguson and Welbeck together. We've seen Lallana as the 10 and perhaps one of them. But it's a very similar shape every time they play. This is the Zerbi football, ladies and gentlemen. And what do we like about it? Well, it's got a very clear identity. The passing out wide, and look at the height of those wide forwards. Now, what De Zerbi did at Sassuolo was his wide forwards were his talisman. Domenico Berardi, you may remember him from Italy's Euros campaign, played wide right. He got so many goals. He got I think 18 goals one season. Super high, super explosive. That's what we're getting from Matoma, and I hope we're going to get from March as well. And the heat maps suggest that. These two are the most advanced players, and they get a lot of the ball, especially Matoma. And that outlet on the left and that left-hand flank of Matoma and Estupiñán, I think have to be on our watch lists. Now, I know the elephant in the room here is Brighton don't play in game week 25, and they'll probably miss game week 28 as well. So should I be buying Brighton players right now? Maybe not. Maybe not, but definitely monitor them. And if you think you can navigate the 25 and 28 blanks, then you can absolutely go and buy Matoma right now. He's the one player I'd really be looking at and going, don't worry too much about the blanks, buy him now. I'm on Solly March, so it's difficult. I'm staying where I am, and I'm happy enough to have Brighton cover. But the fixtures come so good, and I just think there's value there. You know, they play Bournemouth up next, then it's Palace, then it's Fulham, all before that blank in 25. So think of the here and now. And I just think Brighton are a super impressive team that have got a very high ceiling. Since the restart, I think they're the 5th or 6th best attack in the league in terms of the expected data. And they've had really tough opposition in that run. Now the fixtures are turning green, I'm expecting even more goals. So do keep your eyes on that Brighton attack and that Brighton team. 3 January signings I really like the look of in FPL. So I'm going to rank these guys. Who are the best signings we've seen? Because look, Enzo Fernandez, exciting signing for the Premier League to have, but he's not going to really be an FPL asset, is he? But who are going to be FPL assets? Well, Alex Moreno comes in at number 3 for me. Emery's a manager that knows him well. He would have been scouting him for a long time, but Emery is also a manager which keeps clean sheets. Kind of defence first, kind of counter-attacking. Now, this suits wing-backs and it suits full-backs. And Alex Moreno is an attacking full-back that's going to be starting. 4.5 million. Villa haven't got the easiest fixtures at the moment, but coming up, they've got a really good run. And I think we're going to get clean sheets and some attacking returns. Now, when we're trying to accommodate luxury double game week picks, United and City and Arsenal players in our team, we're going to need some 4.5 defenders, and Alex Moreno looks like a really good one that we'll be moving to in the second half of the season, so add him to your watch list. But at number 2, it's another fullback. This one's going to be even more advanced. This is going to be a super high wing back because he's playing for Antonio Conte. Now, Conte hasn't had great luck with his fullbacks and wingbacks at Spurs. They've not been good enough for the system he wants to play, and he hasn't changed the system. He's gone, no, I need my wing-backs high and I need them scoring goals and getting assists, and they haven't necessarily been doing it. But now he's got a player he actually wants. And Pedro Porro, I think, is coming at 5 million. I think that's good value. Emerson's been getting a huge amount of game time, but I don't think he'll be starting too many from now on in the Premier League. I expect Porro to hit the ground running. I think we'll get great output. I think we'll get lots of assists for Harry Kane, and I think we'll get a bit more goal threat than what we've seen from the other Spurs wing-backs. Perisic has been a bit of a disappointment. Sessegnon and Emerson Royal have been very disappointing, and even Doherty, has now moved to Spain. So Pedro Porro, I'm expecting to get quite a lot of minutes. Definitely one for my watch list. But at number 1, I've gone Chelsea. I've gone for a 7 million mid who cost tons of money in real life, but that's because there's clearly a talent there. And Mudryk looks like he's got it. I've got a mate that was with the Chelsea team yesterday. He was at the training ground speaking to some of the players, and they were like, he's super impressive. They've said his shot is like phenomenal, super powerful shot. They're impressed by his speed. We know he's already broken the Premier League speed record this season in his 20-minute cameo at Anfield. By the way, if you want to know more on Mudryk, with this channel, I'm going to be doing 60-second shorts like every day. That's the plan, right? I'm going to do a 60-second short on Mudryk, which is going to be out in a couple of days. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And then we'll do these longer form videos every Thursday. But Mudryk, genuinely think for an FPL option at 7 million, I think Chelsea are going to have a good second half of the season. And I think he's going to be guaranteed minutes. I think he'll play wide left. I think he'll link really well with players like Felix and Havertz on a similar wavelength. I'm liking his numbers from Shakhtar as well. 10 goals, 8 assists this season. He got standing ovation at the Bernabeu last season in the Champions League. He's an impressive player from the Real Madrid fans. So there you go. I like the look of Moreno, Porro and Mudryk, as well as a few others, which we'll be talking about, no doubt, in the coming weeks. Yes, guys, here is my differential squad of 15. Now, all these players are sub 10%. I've gone big on a couple of teams here, right? Triple Brighton. I love the fixture. I love the fixture for Brighton. I'm still back in Newcastle defence. It's triple United and it's triple Leeds. You've just got to play the double game weeks. Now, the United players, sub 10%, you can't have a Rashford, but I think Bruno and Anthony could have good weeks. Martinez, I like him. I think he's good for bonus points and potential goal threat. We saw his goal at Arsenal. A couple of Leeds forwards. I'm not too sure about Bamford starting both games. Rodrigo's probably going to start. And does that mean Rodrigo and Bamford or one or the other? But Nonto should be good value for 2 starts. He's a really genuine option. And I've got Meslier in goal for some save points because no doubt he'll get them. So there we go, guys. Mudryk in there as well. This will be his Chelsea home debut on the Friday night game, and he really does look a player. So that's my differential 11. And I hope you've enjoyed the show, guys. We've gone through loads. We've done a bit of chip strategy. The differential 11's fun. The tactics will be a regular feature, and I'll always be showing you my team too. But thank you so much for your support. Please do hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Also, drop a comment if you've got any questions about moves you're making this week. I'll be going through those comments with a fine-tooth comb. So I'll be replying to everyone, hopefully, before the deadline. But for now, I'll see you tomorrow.